Crime 5.
I've made up my mind, Morgan. I'm seeing our solicitor in the morning to tell him to go ahead with the legal separation.
Well, you needn't bother. I've already arranged for you to have the most legal separation there is.
What are you talking about?
Death. 2 days ago, I took out a very large life assurance policy in your favor, darling. So far from your being put to any legal expenses, our separation will be worth a great deal to you.
Stop it.
Today, I hired a man to kill me. He didn't tell me when the happy event would take place, but, Anna, it can be any time.
I'm sorry to have to ask questions of this nature at a time like this, Mrs. William, but I understand that your marriage wasn't exactly a happy one.
No, until recently I was considering getting a legal separation from Morgan.
How recently?
Well, until the last day or two.
A few days ago, your husband took out a very large insurance policy on his life. You're the beneficiary under the policy. Did you know that?
I found out only 2 nights ago.
Did that influence your decision to reconsider about the separation? What I mean is, his taking out the policy proved he still had a great deal of regard for you.
Yes, it may have influenced me.
Has your husband any enemies, Mrs. William? Anyone who might wish to see him dead?
Oh, no. Morgan didn't have an enemy in the world. Oh, Inspector, there's really no point in concealing the truth. When Morgan told me about the insurance policy, he also said he'd hired a man to kill him. I wouldn't believe it at first, but when he convinced me it was true, I realized how much Morgan loved me. He promised to get in touch with the man and tell him it was all off.
What a pity. It's extremely unfortunate all round, particularly as now your husband's death won't benefit you financially.
I don't understand.
If your husband hired someone to kill him, in law, it's the same thing as if he'd taken his own life. And Mr. Williams' insurance policy has a suicide clause. Did you realize that?
No, I didn't. Inspector, I've just remembered something. You asked me if Morgan had any enemies. I remember now there was a man named Brandt, a known criminal. My husband had some business dealings in which this man Brandt was somehow involved. I don't know the full story, but I do remember he did threaten to kill Morgan.
As a matter of fact, my men have already taken into custody 4 men who have served time for crimes where explosives were used. Brandt was one of the 4. He's admitted under questioning that your husband hired him.
If Brandt says that, then he's lying.
Is he? Exactly how would you know, Mrs. William? I thought Brandt may have been lying. A judge and jury might be far more lenient on Brandt if your husband had hired him to take his own life than, say, if you had hired him to take your husband's life. It's murder in both cases. Well, you do see Brandt's point of view. Mrs. William, I think your husband's threat to have killed himself was only to win your sympathy. But it gave you an idea, didn't it? That and the insurance policy.
All right, Inspector, I'll take my chances. I was the one who hired Brandt.
That makes it murder and not suicide. But even if you're not hanged, you still won't collect on the policy.
I won't.
The insurance company isn't obliged to pay. You see, Mrs. Williams, it's an established legal principle that in law, a person cannot profit as the result of his own crime.